Deal is done. Ornstein confirms Christopher Vivell will be a permanent addition at Manchester United. He was only here on the interim basis, but he's now here to do recruitment permanently. And I think Dan Ashworth's departure probably has something to do with that, even though Dan Ashworth didn't specialise in recruitment. But we'll talk about Vivell, what it add to United, and what could be his first major signing. We know he had a big part to play in deals for Kone. He likes to look at those young gems in sort of foreign countries that aren't really looked at, but he's also going to have a say at bigger signings. We're going to talk about Højlund, Osimhen swap. There's been talk of United wanting Osimhen, him wanting Manchester United. There's been a lot of Osimhen to United links over the last few weeks. I think some of it is maybe agent using United to drive sort of interactions and engagement and all of that as well, and journalists using United. But Osimhen seems to be really looked at by United. Napoli like Højlund. United apparently open to selling Højlund. There was reports earlier this week that Amorim and the coaches are sort of fed up with Højlund. We'll talk about that. Could Quenda or Osimhen be Vivell's first big signing at United? 2 deals apparently being worked on. Quenda apparently very close. Rivals taking the mick out of United in the window, though, trying to remove clauses off like players like Greenwood, who's got a sell-on clause, and some of our youngsters to try and see if United will cave to remove sell-on clauses if they can get money up front due to financial crisis. Bruno takes Manchester United players out on a trip doing bonding. Amorim speaks on Dorgu and how he's a fresh breath there. We'll talk about some comments around Maguire and what happened, Kone, and also the Manchester United squad versus Everton. So, lots to talk about in today's show. We're going to try and round up all the news into a 10-minute video. Manchester United have appointed Christopher Vivell as their full-time director of recruitment following an interim period. Christopher Vivell has signed a multi-year deal on reduced wages and will lead global recruitment, scouting structure and emerging talent, says David Ornstein. So we confirmed the deal is done. He's joining on a permanent. We know he's very good when it comes to emerging talent, scouting structure, looking for those little gems abroad, but he's also going to be taking the lead on global recruitment, which is recruitment around the world, but that could involve, more hands-on approach for first team as well. He's one of those that's probably looking at your Diego Longs, your Kones, but he's also got the ability to find ready-made people for the first team and bring in the scouts to help find ready-made people for the first team. So what could Vivell's first deal be? Well, could something involve Osimhen and Rasmus Højlund in the summer? Like, as of now, if we're to believe what the media is telling us, Quenda will be the next signing at United, which could happen before the summer starts, and maybe one of the first signings when the summer window opens could be Victor Osimhen to Manchester United, if we're to believe what the media tell us. Now, Napoli are interested in signing Rasmus Højlund, but be only willing to pay a fraction of the 72 million Man United bought him for. United have a strong interest in Napoli striker Victor Osimhen, but sources say a potential swap deal for Højlund is complicated. I think with Napoli, when you deal with Napoli, it's going to be difficult. Napoli are always going to make sure they get their money's worth. They'll underpay for your players. They want you to overpay for their players. They know Manchester United are mugs in the transfer window. It's not going to be an easy deal to do. I do think, Højlund plus 20 million probably gets the deal done for Victor Osimhen. I think United and Højlund is valued around £40 million. But something tells me United might want to loan out Højlund. They don't want to take a loss on him this early. He's still young. He's still got time to develop. He's one for the future. There's a small part of me that thinks those inside United believe that Højlund can be a Victor Gyökeres profile in the future. It took Victor Gyökeres time to become top. The problem with Højlund is he's not showing any progress. He scored 16 goals in his first season. He showed good signs. He showed there was a player there. This season, he's not showing anything. A lot of the coaches are fed up with him. But I think because of Højlund's age and profile-wise, he does sort of suit what Amorim wants long-term to run down the channels. Maybe they think with a bit of confidence, give him 1 or 2 years on loan, he could come back in and be that striker for Amorim, especially when we sorted out the side and we create more chances. We don't create chances, but Højlund's movement could be better. There's a part of me that thinks Man United could loan Højlund out, not sell him in the summer, because I still think United don't want to write him off. I don't think he's been good enough this season. He's not good enough to lead the line for United. We need an experienced striker, but I still think it's too early to completely write Højlund off, even though he's been poor, even though he's not showing progress this season. I don't think you can write a player off that young in an unstable environment. It was also said that Osimhen wants to join United and that United are looking to wrap up a deal for Quenda before the summer window officially opens. Many sources have said that. I think Quenda could be done as long as Sporting lower their fee. He wants United. United want the deal. I think it depends on the Sporting fee. Osimhen also wants United, but are we being used by Osimhen's agent to get more interest in him, or are we just being used by Turkish media to generate some clicks and make them some money? Because a lot of the sources saying Osimhen to United is close or 95% done or the deal was agreed, this and that, they're not the most reliable. Now, more reliable source in Mike McGrath said this: several clubs who have brought players from United are considering making a proposal to the club to remove clauses included in the transfer, such as a percentage on sale, which would allow them to make more money in the long term and United have an immediate cash flow. So this includes clubs like Marseille. Marseille, Greenwood top scorer, doing really well. PSG could be ready to spend 70 million to bring Mason Greenwood in. Marseille will, we have to give Marseille, I believe, 70 million. I think Marseille, have to give us 20 million of that. So we've got a 50% clause on anything above like 25 million for Greenwood. So if Marseille get anything above 25 million, we get 50% of that. So if they get 70 million for Greenwood, that's what, 35 million quid? 25 plus 35. No, that's 45 million quid. That's 45 million quid, which means we'd get 22.5 million pounds if PSG paid 70 million for Greenwood. I don't know if they will. Marseille obviously want that 22.5 million pounds, and they might think, because United are so desperate for money now, this second, could we give them 8 million now and then cancel the 22.5 million we may have to give them in the summer if they got 70 million for Greenwood? That's sort of what it is. Can they remove potential clauses by giving United money up front, so they remove clauses for future money? They're basically taking the mick because they know we're desperate with all these cost cuts. I wouldn't take the money now. I'd wait for them to sell Greenwood and see if we can get 20 million from the sale of Greenwood. We sold Greenwood for 30 million. If they sell him and we get 20 million from that, that's 50 million pure profit for Greenwood. It's not bad. Let's talk about other news though, rather than sales and transfers. There is other stories unrelated to transfers coming out, although it is related to transfers because it's Ruben Amorim's only transfer. And wasn't Dorgu a breath of fresh air versus Everton? He was a level above everybody else. You knew he was the new signing because he stood out as being fitter, physically up for it, technically up for it. He was a breath of fresh air versus Everton. I think he could be a great signing as long as he doesn't then become bad like everybody else that joins United and looks good and then 2 months later becomes bad. But not all of them, but some. Ruben Amorim said this: I think the most important thing is that Dorgu, is very excited to be here and you can feel it every day. It's something I'm very happy about because he has understood how lucky he is to play for a club like ours. Ruben Amorim spot on. Dorgu wants to be here, he's happy to be here, he's excited to play for United. Well, unfortunately, there are players in the United squad that aren't happy to be here or don't know what it means to play for United or don't have that excitement anymore. Dorgu, the intensity, the energy he brought, he was so happy to be here. He was a breath of fresh air. He said Dorgu plays well in a context where it is very difficult. He has speed, quality, he can play on both sides, but he plays on the left. I think he feels a little freer. He will be a good player for us today and in the future. And I completely agree. And I think what Amorim is almost saying is Dorgu's a breath of fresh air. He's got this, and this. He's excited to be here, and that is what we need. Talking of breath of fresh air, Bruno Fernandes, he's a breath of fresh air in the squad. He's a real leader. And it was said by the Mail that last week's team building event was organised by Bruno Fernandes. New recruits Xerxes, Agati, Delic, Mesraoui, Dorgu and Heaven had to perform an initiation song. Xerxes' R&B performance was particularly impressive, so Bruno took everybody out. The whole event was organised by Bruno with a little help from United player support team. He booked transport, made arrangements for the squad and spent 2 hours playing darts, pool, table tennis and basketball in addition to bowling before they headed out at 7 p.m. This is Bruno Fernandes that is also giving money to the women's team to help out with their arrangements and travels for their FA Cup final. This is Bruno Fernandes stepping in to help staff and employees who, have to pay for things because Ineos won't pay for it. This is Bruno Fernandes, who's a captain, a leader, going out of his way to organise transport and everything to take the squad out and make an evening for them. You may not like Bruno Fernandes, but he is probably the best person we have for captaincy in the squad. He is a leader, he cares, and he gives a crap. And he is someone that you want the kids in the academy to look up to. I think he gets way too much stick. I think he's disrespected because he's at Manchester United. And I think if he was playing elsewhere, people would talk about how good he is. But I think he's a real player for everybody to look up to in the squad. And I think he could leave this summer and look for a new challenge because we're not good enough for him, which makes me kind of sad. It was said that Sekou Kone is back with the United under-21s away to Sutton in the National League Cup quarter-finals tonight, which says to me Sekou Kone won't be in the matchday squad versus Ipswich tomorrow because he's with the under-21s, which says to me maybe Collier's back, A couple of them, like Morehouse, wasn't in the last squad because we had Agate and Joran Eriksson come back. That says to me if Sekou Kone is out, maybe Collier is back for the match versus Ipswich. But talking of Everton, apparently Harry Maguire was debating the penalty controversy with England teammate and Everton goalkeeper Jordan Pickford in the dressing room after the game's hug. Cowsby shouted, "H, you better get out of here now, you shat yourself," is what they said as well. But, Everton can take the mick all they want, and I still see Everton fans complaining they were robbed and it's corruption, but Ashley Young dived. If Ashley Young's being pulled backwards, why is he flopping forward? It's a dive. Had Ashley Young sort of just fell backwards and not flopped forward and not done such an aggressive dive, maybe he gets the penalty. But the way Ashley Young flopped forward, you could tell it was a dive, and that's why they didn't get the penalty. And the sad thing was, if it was the other way around and United didn't get the penalty, no one would be talking about it. But because United got away with one and Everton didn't get a penalty, people are still talking about it now. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching today's video. Please do go ahead and hit that like button if you haven't already. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. I do apologise if I spoke really fast, but I wanted to speed through the news in 10 minutes. See you next time. Bye.